The Saturday afternoon showdown in Muncie is highlighted by an Indiana-Ball State in-state rivalry. Ball State welcomes Indiana State to Worthen Arena in a rivalry that dates back to 1919. We're happy you're joining us here in the Greg Hubler Countdown to tip-off. As promised, Greg Hubler leads us all the way up until tip-off. See all vehicles for sale at promisekept.com. That is promisekept.com. David Eham McTidrow guiding you through the Greg Hubler Countdown to tip-off. Matt Tuttle is back in our network studios. This is one of those matchups that you look back to over 100 years of history, and you point to a lot of really great matchups, and you were a part of some of those really great matchups. This one just means a little bit more when it's Cardinals and Sycamores going head-to-head.
Well, it really does. I mean, not only an in-state rival, but also talking about Missouri Valley versus the MAC. You're not too far. These guys all play together and against one another in the summertime, so really should be a good one, and particularly important for the Cardinals. You've got 2 in a row at home here. See if you can't take that record to 3-2. It all starts with getting this first one here today.
And it does start with getting that first one today. It's 2 1-2 teams going head-to-head. Ball State's last game against the Dayton Flyers. We'll have head coach Michael Lewis's thoughts about the last 28 minutes of that game coming up here on the Greg Hubler Countdown to tip-off. But the Cardinals were down by 20, came back, made it a 5-point game, and ultimately lost by 8. But, David, we saw a lot of growth in that second half from this Ball State squad.
Well, no question about it. Look, if the Cardinals play the way they did in the second half, they're going to win a lot of ball games. I mean, they're just looking for that consistency. And we've talked about it, Mick. There just hasn't been a lot of flow. We finally saw the flow at both ends of the floor in that second half against Dayton. And I think there's something to the fact that if you're making shots, that picks up your energy level on the defensive end as well. So let's see if they can't carry that over what we saw in Dayton here to start the game, because that's been one of the concerns. The first 3 games out of the jump, the Cardinals have been very slow. So you're really going to want to get off to a good start here today.
And that's what Ball State's looking for. Good starts against an Indiana State team. That's 1-2. They played SIUE, which is one of Ball State's upcoming opponents. That was the Sycamores' last opponent, and they lost 77-72 at home. This Indiana State team, will get through it throughout the course of the Greg Hubler Countdown to tip-off, but it's a team that's trying to find its identity. They're trying to play a little bit like they did last year, but only have 3% of the scoring back from a season ago. It's really just a mix and match, live and learn right now for this team.
Well, look, we've talked about a lot the Cardinals, right, trying to find their rotations, get to know each other on the court as well as off the court. You can say the same thing for Indiana State. They're looking for consistency, 11 new guys. Of course, we know about the historic season last year. Josh Schertz going to St. Louis, taking a couple players, namely Robbie Avila, but Matthew Grays, he only had 4 returning guys. So much like everybody else in mid-major basketball, Mick, they're trying to find their rotations, and they're going to be a little bit hamstrung tonight. A couple injuries that we'll talk about, but one being their 6'10 backup center, Derek Vorst, not in the lineup. He's got a boot on his left foot. That's going to be problematic for Indiana State because they are not deep in the front court.
That is a 6'10" Derek Vorst that's averaging 5 points, 3.5 rebounds per game. Might not seem like a lot, but a really good rotational player for the Sycamores team. Again, Muncie visit Greg Hubler Ford and Hyundai, and Marion visit Greg Hubler Buick GMC. This is the Greg Hubler Countdown to tip-off. Ball State and Indiana State head-to-head in a rivalry that dates back to 1919. Hey, today's game day sponsor is McDonald's of Greater Indiana. Proud sponsor of Ball State Athletics. McDonald's is introducing Krispy Kreme donuts to its core menu, delivered fresh every day to participating McDonald's restaurants. Satisfy your sweet tooth and pair it with our premium roast McKay coffee to start your day. Go Cardinals from McDonald's. We'll continue the Greg Hubler Countdown to tip-off. Coach Lewis is up next on the Gamebridge Radio Network from Airfield.